Ready to go?
Yep. Hello, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Hi, and I'm Kaye Lazar, the announcer. And I think, Mary, today is our 70th performance of this show.
70th show, yes.
70th show, 70, yes.
We've done 70 shows already.
Yeah, and so anyone, they're about, this one's going to be a little shorter, but for the most part, they have been something like almost 70 hours worth of quality entertainment.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to know something? I saw something funny on the internet. Actually, someone brought it to my attention. I never really paid too much attention to the internet. And we have a fan, evidently. I don't know his name, but he put on a show. He took one of the shows we do,
Right.
and then he just cut it. He just took all your stuff out of it, and then took all my stuff out of it, and left your stuff, and left like a 15-20 minute show.
Right.
So anyway,
right.
Why don't you fix with your I think this thing is not working very well. We've had, I actually had like 20. It took me something like 25 minutes to get this started, and now I'd like to think it's working. I've actually had a rough week, health-wise. My face has been all dried out. I'm living in a new place, and the heat is always on there because I usually, I'm living with people now, and people are in the house constantly, and the heat. They always have to have the heat on full blast, and then in the wintertime they're going to have the air conditioning full blast, and my skin is going to take a toll. I always had some sort of I've always had some sort of great idea that when I was living on my own, I just had the windows open and use the natural air, because I don't like air conditioning. I barely like heat. I have to have heat because it's cold, but air conditioning got to do something about. What about you?
Well, I could deal with it. I mean, I could deal with air conditioning in my house.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I could deal with heat in my house. So.
I know people that friends of mine that for years didn't have air conditioning, and they couldn't wait to get in their car to go somewhere because they could put the air conditioning on in their car. It was, and you didn't have to you didn't get a bill for it. You didn't get a heating bill. You didn't get you pay your gas, but that's, Also, the heating in your house is kind of strange when you think about it. It's, I mean, if you heat just one room, that's fine, and you're in that room, like the living room or the kitchen or something. But I'm not kidding you. I see people, like, okay, in their bedroom, I can understand them needing heat. Yeah. And a lot of times each room has its own little valve for it and everything, little disc for it. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
And a thermostat for it. And what happens is they'll have it all over the house. And air conditioning is sort of that way. You have to air condition the hallway when you don't even go in the hallway.
Yeah, I know.
I don't believe in heating the bathroom because you're not in the bathroom that long. And if you're in the bathroom, like to take a shower, you already got the heat coming down from the hot water.
Yeah.
Or take a bath. You don't need the heat on in the bath.
We have one of those, but it's not working right now. Mm-hmm. So we had to have like a portable heater, like kind of like a heater you plug in.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best way. Yeah. And then when that's over, you turn it off.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I used to live in a place that was very cold all the time, Ireland. And I was talking to somebody about this. How did you manage like living there and everything? So I said, gosh, looking back on it, it wasn't too hard. I was making, I'll tell you how much I was making as a DJ. I was making $2 an hour.
Wow.
$2. I was working 35 hours a week and $70. Wow. All right. It was actually Irish pounds, but they were about the same. But I was a young man, and it worked out great because my rent was $20 a week. All right.
Yeah.
And I had a studio apartment, and it was in the middle of town, which was great, so I could go wherever I wanted,
Yeah.
I didn't have a car, so I used the buses. They had buses there, and that got me around. I didn't have a phone, there was a payphone in the hallway, so I could usually either put the money in the payphone, or to call somebody, or they could call me at my and I could get that call for free. What else? What other? Oh, this is what I want to tell you. Heat or electricity. It wasn't you never got a bill. You put like shillings in this like vending machine, and you keep turning it, and you get so many kilowatt hours, so many
Oh, wow.
kilowatt, and wasn't very many. But if you were like me, a single man, always out and about, and always keeping warm, and I didn't have a TV. The only thing I had was a refrigerator. I never opened the refrigerator the whole time I was there because I didn't know. I think I opened it once, and there was so much mold everywhere.
Yeah.
That so someone said, how did you live on $70 a week? I said, well, I didn't spend a lot of money, but I lived very well. You know, I saved. I would save to go to a concert, and I saw Elvis Costello, and I saw U2, and I saw the Ramones, and I saw Bruce Springsteen. The tickets in those days to see them were like about $15 to $20. I don't think I paid more than that to see any of them. And in America, I think it was more.
Yeah.
But that was, and also the time was different.
Yeah.
People don't make so much in a poor country. It was almost like a third world country. I said, I said, well, is this some guy actually gave me a lecture on Ireland. Is this a banana republic? He goes, yes, it's a banana republic, and the banana republic is cheap labor. Cheap labor is their bananas. Oh, speaking of bananas,
Yeah.
I think there's a banana somewhere.
I gave you one.
I didn't eat it. Where did it go?
Huh. It's weird.
I'll eat. Well, I'll eat it. Don't worry. I'll find it. I didn't eat it. I was going to eat it here. I'm going to eat it on the show. This to prove my point on this. But anyway, banana. It's probably in the car. Anyway, Banana Republic. And when you're young, you can do these things. A lot of people think that money and they always have to eat the best food and the best McDonald's, the jumbo meal, or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah.
The Hardee's, what do they call it, the kids meal, the Happy Meal.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat all that. You could eat it. You could eat very little. I think I was living on coffee and peanut butter.
Wow.
And they didn't have peanut butter there.
Yeah.
You had to go to a health food store and buy a big, like, 5-pound barrel of peanut butter, and it was homemade peanut butter. Because peanut butter was typically an American thing, and it had all this oil on the top, and you had to stir it around like a cauldron. And it was very hard because it was a lot of it was. But by the time you got to the bottom, it was pretty much like the peanut butter you always had. It was unsalted.
Wow.
It was, and I lived very well on that stuff. I don't know if I could live forever on that stuff, but for the 3 years I was there, I did quite well. Drank coffee all the time.
Yeah.
I ate lots of fresh fruit and vegetables, which they had. A lot of it came from Spain. A lot of it came from Israel. That's where they're Florida, where we get stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't have any vacations planned. I usually go to Florida. I heard a funny joke about Florida. He said, oh, how do you spend your vacations? He goes, every year I go to Florida, and I help my good friend O.J. Simpson, and we both look, and we try to find the real killers.
I was in Florida.
The real killers. We're looking for them in Florida, even though the whole thing happened in California.
Yeah, I was in Florida 2 years ago. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been going to Florida. I'm not spending any time in Florida. I'm just going to get on cruise ships. I was wasting a trip to Florida. Yeah. I should be spending a week in Florida. And then, see, when I go to Europe or anywhere really, I usually go through New York so I can spend a couple of days in New York.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than New York.
Yeah.
Also, now that my face is getting a little bit better, I was looking at my hair last week doing the show.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. I got it cut. It's still all over the place, but it's not somewhat better compared to my face. And then I'm not. This is what happened to me a few days ago. I coughed. No, I didn't cough. I sneezed at you, and it wasn't even a big sneeze. Big sneeze. I sneezed, and I think I dislocated a rib or something. I never felt such a pain. And I thought, well, I'll just sleep it off. You know, I've pulled muscles before or something. I don't know what it was. And then it's 3 days later and it still hurts. I can barely bend over. I was in the bathtub, a hot bathtub, just to ease my pain, but that didn't seem to work. Nothing seems to work. And the only saving grace is next weekend. I think we change the clocks, so that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll get extra sunshine. And it's a nice day today. It's been raining a lot lately, even though it's kind of overcast.
Yeah.
So tell me, you have some big news about a show you're going to be in?
I just got into Willy Wonka.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be playing Grandma Georgina.
Grandma Georgina.
Yeah.
And do you sing and dance in it?
Well, I do sing in a group, but not a solo.
If I remember the grandparents in Willy Wonka, they both all sleep in the same bed.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
and the only one who ever gets out of that bed is the Grandpa Joe, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Even though I did want a solo at first, but that's okay because I got a good part. So.
Yeah. You'll be great in it. Yes. Yeah. And I've been I've just been well, I'm doing this show. This is what I'm up to.
Yeah. And you're coming to see it, so.
I certainly shall.
Yeah.
I certainly shall. When is it, anyway?
In May.
Oh, in May. Oh, I'll plan my May around that, around your show.
Yeah.
Also, there's a famous singer you told me you like.
George Strait.
Now tell me about George Strait.
My grandmother loved him. He would be on TV all the time. Then she used to record his programs and stuff like that. So.
He made a movie once, and it was his only movie ever made.
Pure Country, I think.
Pure
it's called.
Country. Was it called. Yeah.
Yeah.
And George Strait, I think, is somewhat retired, and he doesn't travel anymore. He's a good guy, George Strait.
Yeah.
George Strait. When I saw him, I have to admit I wasn't a big fan. I'm a big fan of his now, but I wasn't a big fan of his there. He was on a triple bill with Ricky Skaggs, who I'd never seen before, and Merle Haggard was the top thing, and it was at the Coliseum, and it was a big thing, like 10,000 people were there. I mean, it was one of those big arenas, like basketball arenas.
All my exes live in Texas.
Well, all my exes live in Texas. That is why I live in New Orleans. Anyway, so he didn't have that hit yet. In fact, I don't think he had too many hits when I saw him. He was just kind of probably had one album.
I think he had a daughter that got killed in a car accident.
Yeah, well, that happened, I think. I don't know when that happened, but that was very sad what happened. It's always sad when you hear that about somebody.
Yeah.
But George Strait, I'll tell you what I like about George Strait. I'll tell you what I love about George Strait.
Yeah.
So anyway, like a lot of these, this was at a time when people started to get cell phones and start taking pictures and stuff. So they'd rush I was sitting near the front, in like the second or third row. So as soon as he started singing, I went up and there started taking pictures, and lots of people were taking pictures, and he was singing a song, I go with the bad. What he was singing. And then what happened was he went to right when the song was over, he was kind of upset. He says, "What's the matter with these people?" I thought he was going to get mad at the people for taking pictures. He actually said to the ushers and the security people, "If these people want to stand here and take pictures, they can take all the pictures they want." And I said, "Oh, he's my favorite singer right now." And so that's
front property in Arizona.
Yeah. George and so George. Yeah. So after that, I became. I all of a sudden I became the biggest George Strait fan.
Yeah.
George Strait really is a good singer.
Yeah.
And Ricky Skaggs, I saw him. and I saw Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard was kind of a strange guy. He didn't even he was such a big star that he didn't even speak to the audience. Just came out, started singing, and when it was over, I think he took a bow and didn't say. It had no banter with the people.
Yeah.
Ricky Skaggs had plenty of banter, and so did George Strait.
Yeah.
But I guess when you become a big star, you don't have to do that anymore. I saw Conway Twitty, and he was sort of the same way.
Yeah.
They're all, all silence
Yeah.
between songs and everything.
Yeah.
But he's, you might see him on talk shows talking, but I didn't. But George Strait, that was one of my favorite nights of country music, seeing those three. Yeah, and I saw George. Yeah. Now, what else can I tell you? I've been let's see, I've uh, I've been watching. I got the videotape here. Candid Camera.
Oh yeah.
Now, Candid Camera.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah. Well, Candid Camera was a very popular show in the day. This is like a this has like nudity in it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was on, I think, HBO or something in the day. So let me tell you about Candid Camera. Candid Camera was a show, I think it was originally Candid Microphone, where they would put a microphone and have these extraordinary, pretty much practical jokes on people, and then the camera, they would hide it in a flower pot or in a wall painting or something, and they would do it in like public places, like bars, like a lot of, what do you call those things, diners, the automats in the day. A lot of it from New York in the 1950s. That's when it was at its best. A guy named Alan Funt created the show. And he was, I used to love the show when I was a kid. One of the most famous things was a talking mailbox where people put money in and goes, hey, don't, you're too late and everything. And there was a microphone in there, a loudspeaker to tell people. And then a lot of people would be by themselves, so they'd say, hey, do you know there's a person in that, or there's something going on in that, and then that'd be blank, and then when they walk by, we'll start talking again.
Yeah.
It was all done. So anyway, the Candid Camera was, I found this out years later. My dad loved this show. I found it out years later that the show was John Huston's favorite show, the famous film director. And he wanted all his actors in the 1950s, like Humphrey Bogart and Clark Gable, and people like that, who appeared in his movies, Marilyn Monroe, to watch Candid Camera. Because he had a voice, he had quite a stentorian voice. He goes, this is how people behave when they're in normal people behave in crazy circumstances, and this is how I'd like you to behave. So I can't really do a good John Huston. John Huston, of course, was the base of the voice of Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood. So he does a better version of it. That's why he won an Oscar for that same part. But John Huston, this was his favorite show, Candid Camera. Candid Camera. Years they made after Candid Camera kind of ran its course on CBS. They and it wasn't really a new idea for the show. They're still kind of doing this show with different names. But the Candid Camera, they started making these movies, and one got an X rating. It was called What Do You Say to a Naked Lady, which was basically the same Candid Camera show with a naked person walking out of an elevator, and all the people, this was back in 1969 or something. It was a pretty good movie. It was probably the tamest X-rated movie you ever saw. And then I think when HBO came, they started using that concept.
Yeah.
The guy who created it was a guy called Alan Funt, and Alan Funt was this brilliant guy from Cornell who got the idea to do this. He did this. He did the show and then took a break for like 20 years and then came back with it. And they said, why did you come back with this show? And he said because he raised something like $1 million or $2 million in savings. They thought he could live on that.
Yeah.
And then when his accountant died, he went and he found that there was only $3,000 in his account.
Wow.
What happened was his accountant stole all that money over the years, and That's why you should owe. And so he had to do this to get his money back. A lot of people have lost their money through accountants. Alan Funt is most famous, but people like Debbie Reynolds, I think, and I think Hugh Leonard, the famous Irish playwright. Who else? Joe Louis, Abbott and Costello. A lot of these people owe money. Willie Nelson. They wind up. Well, usually they usually wind up owing money to the IRS. That's what causes all the trouble.
Yeah.
And so they have to. So always remember that if you have money problems or anything, or you're thinking that you're sitting high and pretty and everything, if an accountant or a financial advisor could make you a lot of money, he could also steal a lot of money from you. I mean, he could make it go up and down and up and down on his whim, And that's what happened to Alan Fund, and that's what brought back Candid Camera. The most famous example in recent years is Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
Leonard Cohen, I think, raised like a couple of $1 million, and then when he went, and then his accountant stole all his money from him. And he was an old man at this point; he's probably 70-something years old.
Yeah.
And so he had to do something he had never done before: have a nationwide tour, and go and all his fans had to go see him, to boost his money. And you want to know something?
Yeah.
That's when I saw him. And some people say, I'm glad the man that the accountant stole his money, because we never would have gotten this wonderful tour by Leonard Cohen, who got all his money stolen from him. And then of course at the end of the tour he had all his money back, so that so it all works out. He could have had them, but that's you just do things that you can do.
Yeah.
You just do the best you can when these things happen. So and I got to tell you something else. I'm going to be in a couple of weeks at GalaxyCon. I think it's been mentioned on the internet that I'm going to be at GalaxyCon.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be with some other guy there.
Yeah.
We are going to be meeting our fans, both of them.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun. I think if you want to meet us there, it's GalaxyCon in Richmond. It's not all 3 days. I think we're probably going to only be there the last day. But that's when all the wrestlers are there.
Yeah.
So come on. You should come along too. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always excited when there's certain things that excite me every year, and that's the folk festival, the Virginia State Fair.
I love the folk festival.
And the GalaxyCon.
And the State Fair.
Yeah, and then also any theater production I'm in or something.
Yeah.
I'm getting past seeing famous comedians and famous singers and bands, because I've already seen them all.
Yeah.
My dad, near the end, he told me the last 10 years of his life, he said, I don't look at the old bits anymore. I said, why not? He says, they're all dead. All my friends are dead. All I have are new friends now. Well, same with me. I've already exhausted everyone I want to see live in person. So I just, I tell you what I do like to see. I like to see live shows.
Yeah.
And I saw...
I want to see a live show next week.
Yeah. I already saw last week To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
And my friend Mary Badham was in it, and Richard Thomas. John, he was on the Waltons.
Yeah.
First time I met Richard Thomas, I said to him, "Where's the John, boy?"
Yeah.
I didn't say that to him. But it was I actually had better seats this time, but I think I liked the show better the first time I saw it at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
I think everything's better the first time you see it. Even though I think anyone who saw it the first time, I was there with my sister, and she enjoyed it. So yeah. But I was of course, you and I were in a famous version of To Kill a Mockingbird with Mary Badham, and right when it was over, I said to the director of it, who was there, Tracy, I said to her, our version was better. Because why do you say that? Is that because we were in it? Oh, man. So anyway, Mary.
Yeah.
Happy 70th. You have a soda there?
Yeah.
Happy 70th show.
Yeah.
Let's do another 70 times 10 shows. That's good.
It is good.
All right, Mary.
All right.
Any closing words?
I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, and may God bless you. Take care.